down to the root center for the 4130. And this is the channel of recognition and the design of focused energy. Gate 41 is decrease and the gate of contraction. And it's a root center gate, which is the brown square at the bottom of the body graph. And then 30 is clinging fire and the gate of feelings. And it's a solar plexus gate, which is the brown triangle on the right side of the body graph. So gate 41 is root pressure, and it's a restless feeling, energizing the imagination, fantasizing countless scenarios of what could be. And then gate 30 is the solar plexus emotions heating up the fuel, resulting in an intense need to seek out and begin moving in a direction of a new experience.
That's funny, the heating up the fuel, the heating up or cooling it down, the disorganizing of the fuel, the sound vibration of the fuel, the creating pretty snowflakes of the fuel. It's all of it. 30 is this clinging fire that clings to every last thing. And 41 simply says, I'm the release of the energy you need for that thing to take flight. And we don't necessarily cooperate. I'll release at this point. You might have had a clinging fire of another feeling. You might have been clinging on to something else, and it becomes almost an abysmal place because the fear of this thing is the fear of fate. The fates won't let me. So it's a very mystical type of thing. It's designed to literally, when you allow the fear of the fates to creep in as this, what can you call the fear of the fates? It's not like something you can point at per se, right? And that's okay. It's internal to you. So when that happens with you, you don't have to go to fortune cookies to figure out what this is. You follow your strategy and authority. And as soon as there's a disorganization down here, that's when you know the timing is off. Another projected channel, even though it's loaded with energy. This should be a manifesting channel, but it's not unless it connects all the way up to the throat, 36, 35. So for, this whole channel, it needs to share its hunger and its desire. Desire rings through this channel and the channel above it, and its hunger to have fantasy start to show up in something that can become a feeling satiated, that gets satiated and experienced and lived out. And it's without a direct connection to the throat being stuck down here, it never knows if it'll be made manifest. It never knows if it'll be made manifest. And that's the fate. The fear of the fates is it may not. You know, the fates have been cruel today. Next time you hear yourself looking at it that way, or even noticing it that way, agree. Yeah, the fates were cruel today. It's your job to go ahead and not care so much. Because what can you do? You know, you stub your toe, it's bleeding. What can you do? Put a
Clean it off,
Band-Aid on it.
wrap a
Yeah,
Band-Aid on it.
I'm gonna smash that toe off. You know what I mean? Give me an axe.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, that would be a little drastic, and you could do that, but nobody wants to do that, obviously.
Yeah, not the
So
best. Yeah, and it's the 30 is part of the emotional solar plexus. So it's part of that wave, so it's even waiting out that up and that down and that wave. So you don't dive into something and you don't, pop that toe off in a moment of, passion and fire.
yeah, the hunger is one of a desire. It is heavily sexually weighted because that's half of what all human experience anchors to, is our intimate connection with the other. And it's a big part of our life. And this thing is on the type of crash wave that it can go up so high and feel so good and come crashing so far down. And this is where anyone with this channel or the one above it, we have to get together so you can see why this thing moves, right? And how not to let it be personal or be pointed at somebody else as in it's your fault or it's my fault. It's not a fault, it's a chemistry. That's all. These are the channels, these ones on the solar plex, that always make me tell the same story that, women understand very well as chemistry. It's just like giving birth. Guys don't do that, but girls do. And they have a monthly cycle, and plenty of girls got chemistry
Yeah,
by
you learn that
comparison.
when you're like 12 years old. You learn
Yeah.
chemistry real quick.
And what do you do with it? You accept it.
Yeah,
All of it,
you deal with
essentially.
it. Yeah.
You deal with it.
You
And
recognize
so,
that cycle, that pattern, and you take care of yourself, whatever that means throughout the month. And
right.
it's just what it is.
Because you're helpless to it. It's not like, oh, I woke up and I decided no more. That's not something you can do. And it's the same thing here. You need to see it as dispassionately as you learned when you were a younger person to deal with chemistry.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely. Yeah,
up
the
and
other,
down on the wave we go with this.
for sure. The other interesting thing, I have the 41, not the 30, but the 41 is interesting because it's our own fantasy and what could be. But there's also this sense that like people will project their fantasies upon me. And it's also like I have a fifth line and I have other projected aspects of myself, but just that 41 in general, like people can be influenced by your 41 and that sense of fantasy, and they can come up with wild scenarios of what you did or what you said or how you enticed them or this or that or whatever. So just kind of being aware of like this fantasy, this imagination, this creation. It could be for yourself, but it's also going to be affecting other people who are then also going to be like fantasizing.
It's wicked powerful because it starts a process. 41 is the only, if you know anything about genetics, there's a couple of stop codons where the code stops and then starts back up again. And there's only one start codon where all code starts. And in our body graph, it's here in gate 41. It is the start codon of the human condition. And it is the start process for the experiential way. Every mountain that ever got jumped off of with a parachute, and every slope that got skied when it was like straight vertical drop, and every motorcycle that went over a flip, and every evil Knievel jump, and every large bet in a game of cards had desires fueled starting with 41 and 30. And then everything else, I mean, a card player, oh, fate got in the way, it's just, this brings so much story making inside of this channel, inside of this stream here. But be careful of the wave, right? We didn't touch much upon the emotional wave. We've touched on emotional wave before. But if you have this, your chemistry, as you go up and down on an emotional wave, you cycle between hope and pain and back again, between joy and despair. And on its more medium side, it's just up and down. And the down can get very sad, and the up can feel very good. And it can feel very confusing as to why you move between these two things until you realize I'm in a body that's got a very particular template right here. It's mapped out on a circuit board I can now measure, and you start to realize, oh, I get smarter with this. The intelligence of the emotional process makes me so much more intelligent if I stop putting reasons to it and making up reasons for why it's there, and blaming people or myself, or questioning it in the first place. It's simply there, no different than a woman's monthly cycle. It has to go down to get smart, to come back up, to live it out, and share it out into the world, and then do it again, because you're never smart enough. According to our consciousness program, we'll be getting more conscious and more intelligent up until our dying breath, essentially. Right? When does it end, Moni? When does it end? Never. Why should it? No breaks, kid.
Only trouble.
Only, yeah, right. No breaks, only trouble. Right. That's funny.
Good
That's
stuff.
funny.